Constantine Hajis, 923-37 Eastern Avenue Restaurant, LLC, 923-927 Eastern Avenue, Class B beer, wine, or liquor license, application to transfer ownership of a Class B beer, wine, or liquor license presently in the name of a contract purchaser to the applicant at the same location. Everybody testifying, please step forward and raise your right hand.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
For the record, Melvin J. Konensky, representing the applicant in this case. The board is probably familiar. This is the old Boccaccios that was sold eventually due to the untimely death of Giovanni Boccaccio. The place had been vacant for quite some time. Mr. Angelos' group purchased the property. He had as a contract purchaser and then now is asking it to be conveyed to his LLC. Mr. Hodges is the licensee. Mr. Angelos is the primary owner of the LLC. The situation here is that we've got releases from the sales tax in the city of Baltimore. The place is ready at this point. Mr. Angelos, in fact, had his firm party over there during the holidays. What they have not yet is got a management team together for the appropriate operation, and they've been fielding inquiries. He wants to have a first-class operation there in tune with what's going on in the Harbor East. Mr. Angelos has been away for quite some time and is back now. So they're fielding those management teams, and we will present that information at the appropriate time. And they would also want to meet with the LICO, the Little Italy community organization. So I'll let I ask Mr. Hodges a few questions, and if the board approves the transfer, it'll be subject to them meeting with LICO, presenting that plan of what they want to do, and so forth. And quite frankly, just because Mr. Angelos has been away, they haven't had that opportunity to really sit down with him. Would you state your name and address for the record, please?
My name is Constantine Hadges. My address is 1311 Moon Shadow Road, Bel Air, Maryland, 21015.
Now, the information I've given to the board, that's correct?
Yes.
And you have been meeting along with Mr. Angelos and trying to field different management groups to come in here to put a first-class operation here. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And you understand if the board approves the transfer, that one of the conditions is that you meet with the Little Italy group once that team is in place to make your presentation?
Yes.
And you're willing to do that?
Yes.
I don't think you're familiar. That is a rather large operation. It takes that whole block. Unfortunately, it's been empty. And unfortunately, the place across the street closed, Milan. So you've got two big empty places that are there. They have their own parking. They have a parking for about 20. And then the parking lot's up the street's about a block away from them.
All right, and the purchase price of the business was $364,740.
That was the amount they allocated to the business part. They also bought the building for another higher amount.
So for $500,000 or more?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And Mr. Hodges, you gave us an address of 100 North Charles Street. Is that your office?
Yes, it is.
Okay. And have you ever had any prior management experience in a retail or restaurant?
Myself?
Yes.
No, sir.
All right. What's your plan for the establishment?
Well, we've been sitting down with various groups trying to see what's a good fit for the area with Harbor East and Little Italy. We have had multiple people come in and talk to us, so I don't have a final plan as to what type of restaurant or who's opening it up or anything like that. But we're trying to sift through all of that information and get the proper folks in there that'll help not only Little Italy but Harbor East and put a first-class operation out there for everyone.
All right.
Well, anecdotally, I'll tell you that I did have a conversation with Mr. Angelos one day, and he said to me, "Do you know what they really need down there?" And I said, "No, but I think you're going to tell me." He said, "They really need a good steak restaurant." Now, out of the first 10 things I thought about, that was probably 12. But I said to him, "You'll probably look real good back there cooking those steaks." But they want to do something, along the lines, like not exactly Fleming's, but something higher end. So I think that once they get that management team together and it's taken their, only very selective, I think they'll present that to the little, and I think we'll have a, good operator in there.
All right, anything else?
That'd be all.
We're going to go off the record. All right, we're going to go on the record. All right, decision phase, January 24th, 2013, Constantine Hadjis, 923 to 37 Eastern Avenue, Restaurant LLC at 923 to 37 Eastern Avenue. It's an application to transfer ownership of a Class B restaurant license at the former Bocaccio's location. Business has been purchased. Mr. Hadjis appears to be a fit and proper person to hold a liquor license in Baltimore City. But the board is indeed going to hold this matter under consideration. I mean, in all honesty, we're still looking to have more evidence toward the factors in order to approve this. We understand you're a decent person, that the money's paid, that you're going to run a good operation, but we don't know what kind of operation it is. And so we do need to hear a little bit more about it to determine the public need, or actually to determine the uniqueness of the goods and services to be offered by your business and other factors. So what we do want to do is we're gonna hold our decision in abeyance in this matter. We will receive more evidence from community organizations, and we will want you, once you do decide what you're going to do, and I assume once you go to a community organization, you are going to have some handouts, maybe a proposed menu, at least a concept, a business plan, even a skeleton business plan. So we'll look for that evidence. So we're not going to have any more testimony, but we'll receive written evidence from interested parties.
I think that's a fair decision, because the problem is, as I think, once they put the application, they have to have a hearing somewhere on the line.
Right.
And due to the fact that Mr. Angel's been away, we haven't had that opportunity to put it all together. But if that's, you understand, we have to give them the business plan. Okay, fine.
And we're happy to issue our decision in writing if there's no opposition. Okay, thank you very much. We're off the record.
No, okay.
The next one is 600, yeah.
South Broadway.
Please give it to him.
What do you know, brother?
Good afternoon. See you. Hello. We're ready.
1 PM case, David A. Holmes, contract purchaser, 600 and 606 South Broadway. Class B beer, wine, and liquor license, review of long-standing transfer under provisions of Article 2B 10-503D4. Transfer approved on October 5th, 2006. Everybody testifying, please step forward and raise your right hand.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
I do. Good afternoon. All right, Mr. Holmes, hopefully you've got some news for us. Something's going on down there.
We do, and Mr. Chairman and Commissioners, we certainly appreciate coming before the board and providing an update. We've been doing this for a number of years, and we're certainly delighted and happy to continue that process. In the past, you've met with my development partner, Drew Dolbin, who is developing the east and the west portions of this project. And today I want to introduce you to Dan Klein with Klein Enterprise, who is going to be partnering with Drew Dolbin with the Dolbin Company. And I've also brought Dick Manikin with Chesapeake Real Estate, who is going to be teaming up with our group on the Market Shed buildings too. So we have kind of completed the partnership of sorts, and the project has begun. We If you haven't been by the site, you'll certainly be surprised and delighted to see the construction process, which began about 6 months ago, is well underway. We're hoping to have the project completed, which would include the restorations of the north and the south shed and the south expansion, as well as the rest of the retail and the residential by spring of 14.
All right.
We are hoping that sometime later this year that we'll certainly be narrowing down a list of prospective tenants that we may be at that point assigning 1 or 2 of the licenses to groups that have expressed an interest in either the shed buildings or 1 or 2 of the spaces on the east or the west side of the 600 block of South Broadway. We're not at that point yet to assign which group would get a license, if at all. But we certainly appreciate the fact that this board has held those licenses in trust, and we certainly recognize that there's a time issue here that we need to either use those licenses or turn them back in.
All right, anything else? All right, thank you. We'll go off the record.
I don't feel comfortable with saying we need a specific date.
They just told you spring 14.
That's not.
We just can't. All right, let's go back on the record. Mr. Holmes, what kind of capital investment are you looking at over there?
It's all been financed to
Give me a total.
45.
North of 30 million, and that project costs north of 40 million.
Are you aware of the capital investment requirement for a restaurant license in the 46th district?
Yes.
You are, for
Yes,
new,
so
for a new.
For new, that is, and that's why I think in the past we've held the license, wondering if there really were a need to hold them. Now that we have certainly the BD7, which is a little bit different than the 6th one, but we just weren't sure exactly, which space, and although there's a significant amount of capital going into all of it, it just kind of made sense just hang on to it. But obviously, we're going to know in a very short period of time whether, if we even need a 6th, and I'd like to think that we probably may end up using the 7. We have a couple of groups that we think would be a perfect concept that 7-day license would be appropriate for.
All right, well, let's go to our decision phase then. January 24, 2013, David A. Holmes, contract purchaser, 606 South Broadway. say, review a transfer board granted a long time ago. Mr. Holmes, obviously your project has been valuable and time-consuming, but the board can't find a way to extend this license all the way to spring of 2014 under any circumstances. What we will do is we will continue this matter for 180 days, but we're going to expect you to come up with a plan to have transferred that application or transferred this license by filing of a transfer application. We're content and we're confident that you're going to be able to, with the project that you're dealing with here, going to be able to find a liquor license without any problem. So obviously it's not going to be a death knell to the project as well, but we want to give you a chance to dispose of the asset prior to coming back here in 180 days. All right?
Fair enough, thank you.
I mean, do you have a question?
Yeah, no, you know, I think what may end up happening is the next 6 months, we'll probably identify users and that whether we would transfer the license into their names or hold the licenses but assign it to a particular real estate.
That's a possibility.
Yes, okay.
And
All
we
right,
would
that,
be interested in that.
okay, and I think we probably will have advanced the project in terms of pre-leasing to that point where we should be narrowing down some groups that we have already had discussions with. But I certainly appreciate that, and in fairness to the board for all the times I've been coming here, it's a fair compromise. I appreciate that.
Thank you very much. Good to see you.
Thank
All
you.
right, you're off the record.
Thank you, Commissioners.